welcome to this Insights video. I'm Julia Lee, an equity strategist at Bell Direct, and today we'll be discussing investing in international equities. It's my great pleasure to be joined by Julian McCormack, an investment specialist at Platinum Asset Management, to talk about the Platinum Global Fund. This fund is available through our M-Fund service on our website. Thank you so much, Julian, for joining us.
Pleasure, Julie. Great to be here.
Can we start by you telling us a bit about the fund and where you invest?
Yeah, sure. So we are totally unconstrained globally. So basically we build portfolios from the bottom up, one company at a time. So what that means is we go where the opportunities are as opposed to where an index weighting or some other arbitrary thing might tell us to go. What that boils down to though is pretty simple. It's about 20% the US, it's about 20% Europe, it's about 20 China, and about 20 other Asia. So Japan, Korea, India would be the other Asia in there.
Okay, so there's quite a big weighting towards Asia.
Yes.
So from an asset allocation point of view, how would your fund fit into a portfolio?
Well, it's totally different to any exposure that people are getting just to markets. So if people are using an index product or some form of cheap beta to own exposure to markets, what they're going to get in international equities is about half US, 20-ish Europe, 10-ish Japan, and the rest of the world be damned. So we're very, very different to that. And we'll also be much more value focused than current index weightings. So probably a bit less tech, probably a bit more cyclical. So more consumer discretionary, financials, industrials, materials, that kind of stuff.
I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the market being late cycle, but of course Asia tends to be on a bit of a different cycle. So I'm curious to know, how is your portfolio positioned?
Yeah, look, late cycle is really interesting, right? Because if you ask a Chinese person whose market's half what it was 10 years ago, they don't feel very late cycle. If you ask a European, they're just getting back to where they were 10 years ago. They don't feel very late cycle. If you ask a Japanese person whose market hasn't peaked in 35 years, they don't feel very late cycle either. So clearly one economy has grown continuously for 10 years, that's the US, and clearly their market is at a premium to most major markets globally. It's slightly cheaper than India, slightly cheaper than Switzerland, but it's pretty expensive. And then a whole lot of other markets, generally industrial markets, so Germany, Italy, Japan, South Korea, China, they're very, very cheap. So we're skewed more towards those industrial economies.
Okay, so given your portfolio allocation, I'm curious to know, where do you see the future opportunities?
Well, Asia's a huge part of that. We're just seeing index weightings beginning to encompass China. Just on the margin. This is the world's second biggest equity market. It's the world's biggest economy by far on purchasing power parity. We see a lot of opportunity there. So there's very few international investors there. It's a largely retail domestic market. So when I say retail, I mean mums and dads investors drinking tea out of a jar, looking at screens. So it's pretty unsophisticated, and that gives you nice pricing gaps. But look, we find opportunity everywhere, right? So the move to passive does a couple of things. It actually opens up opportunity for people who have time and guts to hold cheap stocks. So we're finding legions of single-digit PE companies globally, in the US, in Europe, all over Asia. So the opportunity is everywhere.
Okay, sounds absolutely fascinating. Thank you so much for your time today,
pleasure.
Julian. If you want to find out more about investing in the Platinum Global Fund through M-Fund, simply go to our website.